Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Vanessa. If you are new here, welcome back to the channel, or should I say more so, welcome back to the channel, Vanessa. It's been a little bit since I've been here, and I'm not going to give the whole, I'm going to be back, guys, I'm never going to leave again, because every time I say that, I end up leaving. I just moved into a totally new apartment and I am in a different part of Las Vegas. For those of you who do not know, I moved to Las Vegas in 2023 and I've been living here for a year now. A lot has changed in my life. If you guys want a full life update, I'll give you the full life update. But I figured, what better way to come back to the channel than doing what I did when I first started the channel, which was a book haul. So since I moved recently, I was going through my books and donating books that I didn't necessarily need, giving away books that I didn't necessarily need. And so as I was packing my bookshelf, I realized it's been a while since I've shared with you guys all the books I've accumulated. So I figured that I'd be going through a series of going through all of my Catholic books. I will tell you right now, I have not read all of them through and through, but I've used a lot of them in my studies, in my writings, and for everything else that I could want to do with my books. So I want to just share the books that I have with you guys. If you guys have read any of these books, please let me know by commenting it down below. And if you guys want any of the links to these books, I'll have them in the description bar below. And also let me know what books I should add to my Catholic bookshelf. So without further ado, I'm going to start out with our first 5 books of my Catholic bookshelf. I just grabbed random books that I found on my shelf. So this is in no particular order. These are just the books that I grabbed off the shelf, and I'll grab 5 more as I film after this. So the first book that I have, I think you guys are going to be surprised, and I'm going to give a disclaimer in this video. Why We're Catholic is not in this book haul. When I first initially moved from Los Angeles to Nevada, I put all my Why We're Catholic copies in my storage unit, and unfortunately my storage unit had a pipe leak and all of my books got ruined, including all of my Why We're Catholic books. I got a storage unit because I thought they'd be safe there. Unfortunately, they aren't. So I don't have any Why We're Catholic books actually on hand, but I couldn't do a book haul video without talking about my favorite apologist, which is Trent Horn. So I grabbed one of his books, which is The Case for Catholicism. I've shared this on the channel before. It's one of my favorite books that I own. Answers to classic and contemporary Protestant objections. So you guys all know I love the way that Trent Horn writes, and that's why I fell in love with the book Why We're Catholic and every book that he has published since. But this book in particular is just so comprehensive. It has so much information. It's a little bit higher level, I would say, than Why We're Catholic. But if you want a really good book that discusses like how to defend the faith, The Case for Catholicism, I think that this book is the one that you guys should get. All right, the next book that I have is The Bible is a Catholic Book, and this is by Jimmy Akin. My parents have fell in love with Jimmy Akin recently. They listened to Jimmy Akin's Mysterious World like non-stop on the road. So I'm thinking about handing this book off to my father because he loves Jimmy Akin. It's hilarious. When we get on road trips, he's like, put on The Boys. That's what he calls him. He's like, can you put on Jimmy and Friends? And I'm like, that's not what it's called at all. But he loves Jimmy Akin, and I do as well. Another one of my favorite apologists from the Catholic Answers Productions or Studios. And this is one of my favorite books that I actually do have on my bookshelf. This is one of the books I really suggest picking up, adding to your bookshelf, and possibly adding to other people's bookshelves. A lot of people often forget where the Bible came from. They think that the Bible sometimes, or I'm not going to say they think this, but you often have this like idea that it's just existed. You don't know where it came from. You don't know how it came to be. You go, okay, yeah, there's the gospel writings, and then there's the epistles of Paul, and then there's the books of the Old Testament, but we often don't really consider how the Bible got compiled. How were the books that were selected and understood as being inspired? And so this book talks about where the root of the Bible is from, how it became compiled. So this book I really enjoy. Jimmy Akin explains things beautifully. I really love the way he speaks. I love the way he writes. So I really suggest picking up this book. This one and the previous one will also be linked in the description bar. So you guys can purchase this at shop.catholic.com. The Trent Horn one I'm going to have to find online. So the next 3 books that I have are kind of a collection series. I should have grabbed my study note version of this book as well, because that's super beneficial for these books. I was introduced to these books when I first started seeking my master's. So as if you guys do not know, I have just finished my master's program. I submitted my final paper. We're just waiting for that approval, and then I'll have a master's in theology. But in my first semester, I took a class, I believe, on the synoptic gospels. That's what the course was called. And my professor introduced me to the writings of Pope Benedict XVI. Now, I've read his stuff before, but I didn't have the name to it. And once I found out what he wrote, how he explains things, he has emerged as being one of my favorite popes, one of my favorite defenders of the faith. I feel like saying that is just lessening his position, but he's become one of my favorite authors, someone that I just look up to, and I just love to read. Whenever he writes something, I'm like, all right, this is gonna be good. He's super great. I love the stuff he has. But anyways, the books that I have, like I mentioned, they're kind of a collection, so I'm gonna include all of them right now, and then we'll go into discussing them a little bit more. So I have Jesus of Nazareth. It's a 3-part series. I have 4 copies of each of these books. I have given these books away. For instance, my fiance's brother has one of the copies of my books, because I'm like, dude, you gotta read this. He's so into the faith, so I was like, you gotta read Ratzinger. So anyways, we have the infancy narratives, Jesus of Nazareth. So this talks about the infancy narratives of the synoptic gospel, or of the gospel writings. Ratzinger, or sorry if I keep saying Ratzinger, I know that offends some people. It's because as I write my college papers, sometimes it's fun to change up the name here and there. And also because a lot of the times that I would be talking about Pope Benedict XVI's writings, it was during the time when he wasn't Pope Benedict XVI. So that's why, yeah, anyway. So we have Jesus of Nazareth, and this one is from baptism to the transfiguration, I believe. And then I believe that's the timeline. And then we have Jesus of Nazareth, Holy Week, and from the entrance into Jerusalem to the resurrection. This is the book that I give away. I get copies of this just so I could give it away. The way he explains the Holy Week is on a whole new level. We think that we have I thought I had an understanding of Holy Week. I don't have any understanding of Holy Week. Even after reading this book, there's still so many things that have happened that I'm just God wrote the most beautiful story ever. And I am a person that I love watching TV, and I'm everyone in the episode is wearing purple. Or even in my own life, I go everyone is wearing green today. So this episode, something's going to happen with green. I like to read between the lines. Not saying he's reading between the lines here. But he talks about things that when you're reading the Gospels, you're reading the Synoptic Gospels, or just the Gospels in general, you may overlook. The timeline of things. The Passover meal or the Last Supper meal, how it falls in the timeline. He explains this here. He explains about how when Peter says, you are Jesus Christ, when he calls Jesus God. Oh, I'm dropping my book. It's at the same time that the priests were in the temple, chanting the name of the Lord, and they can only do it once a year. And at the exact same moment, Peter is saying that you are the Son of the living God. Anyways, you guys got to read this book. It's so great. It's so good. His writing is not little. It's very complex. It's one that's not easily grasped. So I would keep that in mind before you dive into reading it. For instance, I picked up Intro to Christianity by him because I thought that was going to be an easy read. Intro to Christianity. I'm a Christian. I know about it. Intro, I got it. No, I don't. You read it and you're huh. Well, maybe I do have to be a theologian. His stuff, you may need a study guide to help you through his writings. And that's why I was saying I should have brought the study guide with me, because I actually do have a copy of the study guide for these books in general. So maybe I'll include that in a different book haul. But these books are definitely ones that you need to add to your bookshelf. Even if you don't get a chance to read them all together all at once, you just need the edition. It's great. It's a beautiful edition. They're so cute too. They're just so cute. They'll look the same. Anyways, I'm one for aesthetics. I said no, I'm not. Very aesthetic. So those were 5 books that I have on my Catholic bookshelf. Like I mentioned, they will all be linked down below in the description bar where you guys can get them. I'll try to find you guys the best deal, whether it's Amazon, if it's shopcatholic.com, if it's any other publisher that has them posted. I will try to find you guys the best deal and link them down below. Please let me know what books I should add to my Catholic bookshelf, and maybe I do have them on my Catholic bookshelf. And maybe make a guess, because I'm going to spend a few hours right now going through all my books. So make a guess. What books is Vanessa going to include in our next 5? If that seems like fun to you guys. But anyways, I missed you all, and I can't wait to see you guys in my next video, because I know it's going to get posted because I'm about to film it right now. Thank you for being patient with me. I love you guys, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye-bye.